Hello, my name is Alicia Gus. This presentation is over witchcraft and herbs and is herbalism a good substitute for pain management? What is included is an introduction, research, question and variables, background, literature, methods 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, results analysis, discussion, and conclusion. So what is witchcraft and how does it relate to herbalism? Witchcraft is a practice that's focused on intention into rituals that help bring a force to come to pass. They use herbs in their spells that aim to help them in setting intentions. My main goal was to connect pain management to witchcraft and herbalism as a better way than using painkillers. I chose this topic because it is something that I am looking into doing for myself to help me better and get away from painkillers so much, and I find a natural calling to it. Research question and variables. My research question is there a link between herbalism used in witchcraft and pain management? I picked this question because, like I said, I suffer from chronic migraines and believe that painkillers are bad for the body. So I am looking for another way to help combat pain that won't be as toxic on the body. I didn't really have to change or modify my research question once I was able to narrow it down in the broad topic of witchcraft. My variables are herbalism and pain management. I chose these because it is becoming more common in today's day and age to use marijuana/cannabis for pain along with other ailments for the body. So I was wondering if there was a link to witchcraft and the spells they use to help with pain management through herbalism. I operationalized these variables by asking questions related to herbalism and pain management as the focus of my paper. I had to modify my variables once I defined them by figuring out what aspects to focus on in their broad subject and figure out how to use that to my advantage. Background literature. Why my project is relevant to my background research is because witchcraft has roots in herbalism and therefore it can help people that suffer from a lot of ailments through herbs, including chronic pain. However, there's not enough research done on natural remedies and therefore it can be dangerous, as well as some herbs are toxic if ingested, and the herbalist/witch should be the one to prescribe the remedy as they have the knowledge on the subject. Many of the herb remedies were lost during the witch trials, but there is still enough that has survived and is being used more in modern day for those who don't want the side effects of traditional pharmaceutical medications. Participant observations. My participant observations took place in my friend's house and at my personal house. The first event was about tarot cards and herbs used in spell work. We discussed the different types of herbs, what they were used for, and how to use them in spells, including when to do spells. We then discussed tarot cards and used one of my decks on her to show me how they work. The second participation observation was done at her house, and it was discussing more on the history of witchcraft and the holidays, and how they relate to other holidays from other religions. The third event was done at my house. It was doing a protection spell on the full moon in the kitchen for myself, which went well and did its job. I felt immediately the effects of it by the next day. The last participation observation was done at my house. It was a tarot card reading on myself. I did this by shuffling and drawing out 7 cards at the minimum to be read and interpreted by the book on what was going on in my life, and it gave me a good reading back, which basically saying that I was on the right path. My interviews in life history. My semi-structured interview were done on a recording with consent to be recorded. I asked some broad questions to get the general feel for the subject matter being discussed. I interviewed my friend Betsy along with her friend to help people from the witchcraft community because they are witches. Then I interviewed family and my boyfriend to have an outsider's perspective on witchcraft. Life histories. For my life histories, I asked more in-depth questions regarding witchcraft, pain and management, herbalism, and religion to get a better idea on how they're connected. I also asked the same question over and over in different ways to see if I could get a different answer than what was given before, to see if I get more information. I did this with the same people, and I did the interview with because they would be able to give me the knowledge from both sides to connect them to my paper. They were also the easiest to get a hold of. I learned the connection between the variables and how they relate to each other from these. Okay, so for surveys, I didn't have very much luck with these. I tried to do surveys. I made it into a Google Doc, posted it online, into the broad subject of online universe, and I haven't received anything back. So there's nothing I could learn from my surveys. My cultural domains were herbology, witchcraft, and pain management. I chose those domains to find the link in them. What this added to my research project is that there is a link, but to the untrained eye, you can't find it. So unless you're purposely researching this, you won't be able to find that link. Like, cultural artifacts, were described as witchcraft and herbalism, and how they were used. My pop culture one gave information on witchcraft from reviews of media, as in TV shows, as well as from other practicing witches. I collected most of them from a Google search, but there isn't much on the subject because there isn't much on the subject in the library. I also collected more from TikTok since I follow fellow witches on there as well. I analyze these to understand witchcraft and how it relates to herbalism and pain management. So I learned that all witches are at heart basically herbalists, and they use herbal remedies to their advantage with setting intentions. My results and analysis. What I discovered is that witches and herbalists are related through a link of using herbs to help with ailments such as pain. And that they are linked together throughout history, and many people were sought after for these remedies to help with the ailment. My initial hypothesis was, is there a link between herbalism and witchcraft involving pain management? The answer is yes, there is a link. And the link in the herbal remedies used that are passed down through the knowledge of the herbalists, who are often part of the witchcraft culture. I didn't really have to change my hypothesis, but more of expand on the idea to find that link. Discussion. So there is a link between herbalism and witchcraft for herbal remedies used in pain management. The connection is a bigger picture. In the modern day, it is often sought after instead of pharmaceutical remedies that can damage the body. However, there should be care taken, and it can be left up to a professional because certain herbs are toxic and can be used in ways that harm the body. But practitioners that do both herbal remedies and are still doctors implement both to help the patient get better and find a way to change their life to help them in their recovery. So this is how the remedies have survived and are used today with views which view them as alternative instead of seen as working with the devil like in the old days. Conclusion. So the overall message is that herbal remedies used by witches/herbalists can be used for pain management, but to varying degrees depending on the person and how they react to that person's body. But that does not mean for serious ailments that a doctor shouldn't be the one to be called for that person to get better. But for some mild things like pain, simple things such as marijuana or cannabis can be used to help with it and should be used. One additional question should be what is the link in spell practice in witchcraft and the herbs used in our rules? Another question should be is this link should this link be used more than pharmaceuticals that are known to harm the body? And that is all about my presentation.